Like to welcome everybody out to the October the 6th, 2025 meeting. We'll be looking to go into closed session pursuant to 143, 318, 11A3 to consult with the attorney employee or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, which privilege is hereby acknowledged and pursuant to 143, 318, 11A6 to consider the qualifications, competence, performance, character, fitness, condition of appointment, or conditions of initial employment of an individual public officer or employee or prospective public officer or employee, or to hear or investigate a complaint, charge, or grievance by or against a public officer or employee. Do I have a motion to go in public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to welcome everybody out to the October 6, 2025 meeting. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have a motion to come out of closed session?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Moving on. Conflict of interest. Does any member of council have a conflict of interest or the appearance of a conflict of interest in regards to any item on the agenda? If so, please state at this time. Mr. Nern?
No, sir.
Mr. Burns?
I do not.
Mr. Hargraves?
No, sir.
Mr. Corbett?
No, sir. Possible no.
Gotcha. All right. Next up, approval of the draft agenda. Does any member of council have anything that needs to be changed or discussed? Not?
No.
Do I have a motion to approve the draft agenda?
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. General council discussion. Any member of council have anything? Go ahead, Mr. Nern.
As you all know, Sunset at Sunset was just an outstanding success. And I'm going to thank the entire town staff who worked hard on this. Admin, police, fire, public works, facilities maintenance. I want to thank the 30-some volunteers from Sunset Beach and Calabash that helped make it run smoothly. I want to make a special thanks to Fletcher and John from Dave's for the fish tank at the ERC booth. It was amazing. A lot of people were talking about it, so it was quite a setup. Last but not least, our Sunset Beach Energizer bunny, Amy Goodrich. She worked like crazy to put that all together. So, as a councilman and as a citizen of Sunset Beach, I thank you all.
Any other body got anything?
I got one.
Go ahead, sir.
Just to remind everybody of the obvious, especially as I look around this room, we have an election coming out. We need to encourage everybody to get out there and to vote. And my name is not on the ballot by choice. So thank you very much.
Anybody else?
I'd like to also shout out to Amy Goodrich for a job well done. I want to thank a group of people who were there at the end for cleanup. We had the West Brunswick High School Key Club there. They had about 14 volunteers there helping to take down and take away and get all kinds of paraphernalia from the vendors up into the parking lot so they could get out of here. They did a wonderful job, and I'd just like to thank them officially for the hard work and the smiling throughout that they did. Really a great example of our young people and how they can chip in and do a great job. Also had the opportunity during cleanup to talk to several vendors who were new to Sunset Beach, new to the park, and new to Sunset at Sunset. And their reactions were amazing. Sometimes we as citizens of Sunset Beach take what we have for granted. But these people talked about the beautiful park, the heritage trees in the park, the view of the Intercoastal Waterway, the wonderful people they met, and they're going to be back next year. And of course, the Superior organization of the event, they're going to be back next year. So it's nice to be reminded by our visitors of our town, the beautiful, friendly, and special place we all call home. So, Amy, thank you very much for all you did to put that all together.
Anything else?
I got just a quick one now, just reminding everybody that as far as the my parking update, I'm trying to make a little parking update at each meeting. The construction has begun now on the north side of Main Street. It's almost done on the north side of Main Street at the west end. And a lot of work has gone into that, a lot of planning and so on. The spaces, I've had a lot of questions recently. Spaces 22 feet long and 9 feet wide. The main three reasons that if you look at those spaces you want to solve is the main complaints that people on Main Street had. A number of years ago, we first began this whole thing. Vehicles blocking driveways, vehicles blocking mailboxes, and sight lines coming out of driveways. If you look at those parking places, they solve those problems. Other things that people are talking about now, questions we've had, remember now the good old days of random parking where people parked in private property. You saw at the end of the summer many times vehicles that damaged cable boxes and power boxes. And of course, vehicles blocking the vacuum pits that we're not supposed to block, we've learned this year. Designated parking now makes it illegal to block driveways, block mailboxes, park within driving sight lines, and park on private property. So all that is working to attempt to get things much more organized on the island. And that's pretty much it as far as the parking plan is concerned, and just a little update there. We'll be doing a frequently answered question on the website concerning questions people have about some things that are surrounding those parking spaces, like part of a vacuum pit, for example, a close power box or something like that. We're going to put out a frequently answered question on the website on that, so stay tuned for that. Thank you. Appreciate that.
If nothing else, we're moving on to the public comments on agenda items only. Most of you here has been here before, so you come to the mic on anything that's on the agenda tonight. You have 3 minutes. Please state your name and address. Floor is open if you'd like to come.
Good evening. Gary Matthews, run the business at 101 West Main Street. Let me first apologize for not being prepared. I was not planning on coming here tonight to speak until about 6:10. And I'll go into that in a second. Just to clarify a few rumors that's been going around. The pier parking lot will stay at $10 for the next coming year. We are not looking to increase that. So if you've been told that we were going up, we are not. So that's going to stay there. And also, there's some talk about the Continental condo lot over there. That lease for me has expired. They are going into lease with that with Auto Connect. So tonight, when I went over to the pier, I was leaving and seen a vehicle parked over there in that lot, which is a private lot controlled by me, and that is permit only. And there was a vehicle in that lot. When I pulled up beside of it, I believe it's these two gentlemen from Auto Connect sitting there. When I asked what they were doing, they said they were there to look at that lot. I told them that they needed to leave, and they didn't get that lot till the end of December. So, gentlemen, if you want to go to that lot, you can contact me. If not, you're considered trespassing. Okay, thank you. So, the concern with that is if the town doesn't know anything about that, so it's Auto coming in and leasing a piece of property that the town doesn't know. Okay, are they going to set a different parking rate than what the town does? So if that is so, then they're in conflict with an agreement. I would think that they would to contract with you. So they could go set their rate at $15 a day, which is $5 cheaper than the town, and they can fill that lot up first, which is cutting you out. Or is the town going in with them on that? So I had members of this council come to me before about 2 years ago and wanted to take over the town, over the main lot and let the town run. So one way or the other, they're either going to go with you on this or they're going to go against you on this. So if they take over that lot, do the citizens that pay the $25 for the town lot, are they going to be able to park there? The people that pay $175 for the year, are they going to be able to park there? So, a few questions there for that. Like I say, I had no intentions of coming here. Whatever y'all do with parking, that's up to you. Like I say, when I got people over there on the lot that I still control looking at that. So, that's no rumor. They were there looking at it tonight. I was told a month ago that the lease was expired and they were working out a deal with them. So appreciate your time. Once again, gentlemen, if you want anything to do with that, please contact me and we'll set up a time that you can go over there. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Gary.
you.
Thanks, Gary.
Anyone else on agenda item? Yes, sir. Come on up.
My name's Gerald Wren, and I live in Ash. I'm here to comment on the Carolina Bays project and the resolution you have. And to be very specific about what I'm asking council to make a very small change to their resolution on that and word it that you're asking them to consider that portion of alternative 4A that relates to the 904 and the P Landing Road. It's been as you say, the council since 2020 said any concept route that converges with US 17 at NC 904 would have extensive negative economic consequences, and that's just a fact. However, you have to take into consideration the plans that were shown to us in August are 5 years old, and they did not improve those plans, or they did not update those plans. That area in Calabash and going up into Ash along the Ash Little River Road, now it's not woodland anymore. There are actually residential projects that are permitted and under construction, 5,000 of them. And and there's more. What I'm asking you to do is not comment on the rest of alternative 4, but to comment on that portion that affects you, which is that area up there at 904. I just think it's probably appropriate to maybe be a little more specific, and I'm asking you to do that. And I think that's the gist of my question. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? Agenda items only. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Chris Bauman, 40th Street, Sunset Beach. I'm here to talk about parking, of course, specifically safety at the 40th and Main Street lot. I sent you all an email yesterday with quite a few of exhibits. And the reason why I'm talking about it tonight is I want to be sure that everyone's on the same page and that the public at large understands what's going on. I understand something might already is being worked on possibly in this area. The first thing that I sent you were a whole bunch of photos that showed black driveways. Black driveways down at the end of West Main and 40th Street. Obviously it's intermittent, but this causes a real issue for fire trucks. They're not going to be able to get through if there's an emergency. Same thing with ambulances. There's quite a few photos that I sent you. It's not just a nuisance for residents, it's also a huge safety issue. The second thing is ADA and pedestrian safety. Some of the photos I sent you actually show cars blocking the sidewalk ADA ramp, not the beach walk ramp. I'm talking about the sidewalk ramp and the crosswalk. Plus, when you have cars backing in and out of there doing the 3 to 5 point turns, that puts some of our most vulnerable pedestrians at high risk, including children, elderly, and people that use assistive devices. I'm very concerned. One of my good friends, Mike, is a 92-year-old Korean War veteran. He uses his rolling walker and he goes down to the beach. And if that's obstructed, he doesn't move as fast as some of us. If that's obstructed, he's at really high risk for falls, and that's a huge issue. Thirdly, there's been property damage, and you saw this in the public record that I sent to you. There have been at least 5 separate incidents where cars backed out and hit private property. This is right at the first 2 houses on West Main Street. This tells us that, well, I should say, first of all, the public record indicates 0 incidents in 2024. So what changed? We now have perpendicular parking. It's clear to me that this data shows that the current parking design down there needs to be changed. My ask is that we go back to parallel parking. We didn't have block driveways. We didn't put our older folks and our ADA folks and our children at risk like what we're doing now. It was just much safer. We had 0 property damage before. So that's why my ask is to give consideration to go back to parallel parking in that area. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Anyone else? Agenda items only.
Hello, John Hobgood from Sunset Beach Trading Company on Sunset Boulevard South. I honestly don't know why I'm up here tonight. Per the agenda, there's about to be a presentation about parking. This parking program runs until the end of October, so we're getting a report on 6 out of 7 months. Maybe this, I'm just reading this because I don't like speaking in front of y'all, but maybe they're going to tell you that this parking program was a success. Maybe they're going to tell you it was not as successful as they had hoped. Maybe though it's successful for the town, but I don't think all businesses on the island would say the same. I don't know. Maybe they're about to announce that they're going to manage private parking lots on the island. I'm a little concerned as to what this presentation is when there was no information on the agenda. I'm told due to the scheduling conflict, that is why the presentation is early. This may or may not be the last meeting before the election. In past elections, council meetings the day before the election day have been moved. I suggest that if there is a meeting scheduled for November 3rd, that meeting be moved until after the election. How does this look? Are these two issues tied to one another, entwined with one another? I'm not sure. I think we're about to find out. I guess you're up. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Anyone else on agenda items only? Not, we'll be moving on next to the presentation part. Auto Connect, Town of Sunset Beach Paid Parking Program. Mr. Jim Varner, you got the floor.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. As always, it's a pleasure. Start off with a couple of the issues that have been brought forward already. Number one, I have no contract with Continental. Microphone closer. Okay. They have contacted me for consideration of implementing parking for their lot. That's all I can say at this point in time. We have nothing else at this point decided or agreed upon. As for scheduling, yes, we did have a scheduling conflict. We are not available to present in the following 2 months in November or December. So I did ask Lisa if we could present at this meeting instead. No other agenda associated with that. This is a summary of our year-to-date parking activities, and it's intended to give you a perception of what was accomplished in our paid parking program. To start off with, talk about revenue. Frankly, Sunset Beach broke my model for revenue. I would have expected about $300,000 worth of revenue to the town. We're at just short of 450. So the number of vehicles, the participation of the public to come to Sunset Beach has really exceeded my expectation, as has the revenue. We had a total of over 43,000 parked vehicles that were recorded. And you can see from the trends, March and April had very high revenue. Those are season permits. May drops off as is typical. June and July are our big participation months. People in the parking lots. One of the questions I always get is, how do we count vehicles? Every time somebody buys a parking permit, we count that as a vehicle parked for that day, even if it's back in March. If it is somebody who has a season permit, the first time we scan their tag in a parking space, we count it. We don't count it after that on that day. So we take those two numbers and add it up, and that's how we came up with the 43,000 and change. Resident vehicles parked just short of 10,000 and visitors over 33,000 vehicles parked. So there's a lot of traffic. The next chart. This is the audited report that we provide, right out of the audited report that we provide to the town on a monthly basis. It has the month-by-month revenue that we send a check to the town on a regular basis. The total collected fees and fines that we collected was $636,000, of which 445 have been or will be tomorrow for September delivered to the town. Okay. With me,
Question, please.
yes, sir.
Where did the numbers for 23 and 24 come from?
In 23 and 24, we licensed our system to the police department. And the police department issued parking citations, and we collected the money from those tickets. And that's what the 23 and 24 numbers are.
Thank you.
Another question. You show 9,666 residents. Does your system tell us how many of those passes that were sold to residents at their $25 each were actually used at least once?
I could find that information.
I'm just
out.
wondering if.
I don't have that information.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Other questions on revenue?
So 2025 would also include police department
Yes. Although
minutes.
with my folks on the island, the police department did not issue nearly as many citations this year as they did in previous years.
Thank you.
Okay. With me this evening, I've got two of my staff. I have Alyssa Irons, our VP of Operations for Parking and Marketing, and Dale Lyon is our manager for Parking Enforcement.
Would you say his name again, please?
Dale Lyon.
Thank you.
So he manages the people that do the enforcement on each of the islands or each of the towns that we have in Brunswick County. At this point, I'd like to turn the mic over to Alyssa, who will take you through some of the operational details. Alyssa?
Yeah, a little shorter than Jim.
No, bend it down.
Can you guys hear me
You
okay?
can turn it down.
You can
bring it
More?
down.
You
Oh,
can
yeah.
pull it down. So
Is that
it's
good?
comfortable.
Good.
We can
Okay.
hear you.
As he said, my name is Alyssa Irons. I've met a lot of you out and about on Sunset Beach before, but if you don't recognize me, that's who I am, and I'll be back here next year. So this slide is our citation report. As you can see, we issued not too many citations, I would say. We had about 3,500 citations this year. So the first line item I want to direct you to is our deleted or our refunded. When you see that statistic, it's based off of if a resident accidentally purchased a season pass. We're going to refund that because they're a resident of Sunset Beach and we want to get them squared away properly. Or maybe they went to the beach and they typed in their license plate wrong. So we're going to delete or refund those citation payments. The next one I want to direct you to is the highlighted in kind of like an orange yellow color. 75% of your citations were parking without a valid parking permit. The big one there is going to be July and June. I'm going to say that a lot of it was people driving around and not finding a place to parking and getting to the beach as quickly as they can. It's pretty common with new beaches, and I'm hoping that number goes down next year. And then no parking in the right-of-way and the non-LSVs in the LSV spots. Those are your other big red flags for citations. Still relatively low, but I'd love to get those numbers lower for you. And I think we can do that.
Listen, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Throughout the summer, the parking without a valid paid permit has been the highest number each month.
Yes.
I mean,
It does decrease, obviously, but yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think it's the change, right? We see this with every new town. They just park and they walk to the beach. And so I'm hoping with, now that we're established and everyone's in a routine and aware, they're going to pay a bit more attention. Now, you just added parking on Main Street, and with any change comes its little bump in the road. But yes, yeah, and we sent you the numbers for the signs already.
they'll go down.
Yeah, yes, that is the hope. Now with these numbers, I'm not that upset because we, as you can see, so April, 8% of the people who parked received a violation. But by September, we were down to 5%, and that's actually very, very, very good. Our goal is to get between 5% and 3%, and I think that we can do that. Any questions? Yeah.
Yes, I have one question. How many warnings did you guys give out?
Yeah,
Is it on
so
there?
the last page, you can see, so we gave citations, but then we reduced them to warnings with our contract with you all. And so the exact number is 237. So only 8.4 were reduced to warnings. That typically happens at the beginning of the year when our goal throughout the season is education before a citation. So we try to catch people before they're leaving their vehicles, and when we can. However, that's not always the case.
There was a vehicle parked on 8th Street maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I approached one of the illegally parked. I approached one of your people.
Yes, I
and
talked to
said
Mike
they were
already about
instructed-
this.
They were instructed not to give tickets.
Yes, that was a miscommunication. Actually, we drove by that parking spot today, and we've got some feedback for Matt. But there was some back and forth already happening between Matt and us, our director Dale Lyon, in regards to that specific space. Any other questions about the parking citations?
So I haven't looked through here before, but
Yeah.
out of those citations, how many of them have actually been paid?
Oh, that's a great question. Okay, so let's see if I've got the number here. I think I do.
Sure you do.
So you actually have an incredibly high compliance rate compared to the rest of the towns, almost 8.6 or 86%. So you'll see on, I think it's the, did you get a printout of this?
Looks like page
Page
5.
6.
Page 6.
6.
6, yeah.
6.
Yeah.
Okay.
So on this slide, here you can see the numbers for permits purchased, how many purchased hourly, daily, weekly. Your big selling points were the season permits and the upgrades, so allowing clients to continue to pay and accrue towards the 175 for the season was a big get. And the daily permits, so allowing people to pay the hourly until they tap out at the 25 was great. But yes, the percentage of payment, I mean, 86, almost 86%. That's very good.
Question.
Sure.
The $25 for a resident to register a vehicle with you.
Mhm.
Is that a very special number as such, or if we drop it down to 10 next year?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Jim can probably elaborate on that more. But those numbers are chosen by you all.
I
and
know,
we got your back.
because,
I have a question.
it's about time.
Mike, the unpaid tickets,
Mm-hmm.
how you doing with collecting on those?
So they all start, it's a couple months after that we like to give people enough time, right, to pay. So we'll start seeing those sent to collections now. The ones from, I believe it's August will be sent, but 86% is pretty good. I don't think I've got the exact paid via collections, 814 underneath paid with late fee on the 6th page. So that's not a bad number at all.
Page 6.
Any other questions? Okay. So now I'm going to turn it back to Jim on planning for next year.
So before I get into recommendations for next year, any other questions, clarification? To your point, $25 versus $10 for a resident permit, totally up to council. That $25 number was set by council. It doesn't matter to us. Go back to this chart, yes. Mr. Nern's point, yeah, 814 citations were paid via collections. The unpaid, the 403 on the bottom right-hand side, that includes September. We have not sent those to collections yet. We don't send those until somewhere between 30 and 45 days after the date of issue of the citation. So some of those will still yet go to collections and will be paid out in the coming months. Other questions?
Jim, I just have a comment about your code enforcement staff. Throughout the summer, I got to say hello and know many of them, including when Alyssa was coming in with her husband and helping out. I found them to be a real good ambassadors to your program. They really had a positive attitude. That was number one. But they were non-confrontational. I've seen them work with people who are upset, work with people that couldn't figure out how to take that phone and get up to the sign and do all the things they needed to do. And they were just helpful in so many ways. In fact, one lady was trying to find somebody a parking space, or tell them where a parking space might be, because we really had problems parking this year on the island. We were down in numbers as far as parking places were concerned. But their non-confrontational manner and positive attitudes really helped. I had one lady, she continually told me how nice the people are in Sunset Beach compared to those other beaches she works at. So it was nice to hear. So that was good. I think hiring that type of person works. And I think that's positive. That's positive.
Great. Thank you for the feedback. Other questions, comments? Okay. Go to the next chart, and I apologize for the typo right up at the top. It is planning for 2026. So I apologize for that. First off, I do not recommend changes to your rates at this point. You are competitive with Brunswick County. The only town that has done something different is Oak Island, which raised this year their season parking permit to $225 from the $175 that the rest of the towns have. I have not heard any inkling of any other changes projected for next year from the other towns.
Jim, what about length of season? Don't they vary a little bit about length of season now? How many months we're going to be paid parking? When does it begin? When does it end each year?
So let me step right through them. Oak Island is April 1st through the end of September. They don't do October.
They don't do, okay.
Holden Beach does year round. So, and they are, again, as part of public record, they're going to make probably an extra $50,000 to $60,000 by doing it year round. Their pier parking lot is very popular even in the winter. Ocean Isle and Sunset have the same schedule, April 1st through the end of October.
So that's completely up to us.
Completely up to you.
Okay, thank you.
Main Street additional parking assessments are underway. Got request in for approval to Lisa to purchase the parking signs for the new spaces on the west end of Main Street. So we'll get that to Matt and the Public Works team as soon as possible. And we'll continue to look at the rest of the town and signage. Signs are important for communication to the public that they need to pay for the parking. Gazebo lot in particular. People like to park and just go to the beach. We may recommend adding a couple of extra signs there. Canal Street. One of the biggest problems that we had was when all the regular spots are full, people would put a car into an LSV golf cart space and get a ticket and complain about it. Complain about that there's not enough. We would recommend that all of the spaces on Canal Street be for a regular vehicle and not for golf carts, especially with your plan to put more golf cart parking on Main Street. Parking permits for next year. We usually make resident parking permits available for purchase in December. Okay, people like to buy them for Christmas, for spouses and grandparents and whoever. So if you intend to make a change in the resident parking permits, you need to do it before September. And then we'll have regular season permits. I'm sorry, December.
Yeah.
And then we'll have regular season permits go on sale starting in January for the effective date of April 1st. One other area that we've noticed coming from other towns is when we get to the end of the season for paid parking. We've had a lot of requests for us to monitor for what we call no zone or all the other violations on the island area during the off season. So we are offering that as a service, as a fee service per month. Right now, with your police department using our system, they tend to monitor those. If there was a desire to take that burden off of the police department and have us do the island for all those other violations, parking in the right of way, parking opposing traffic, all of the safety-based issues, parking in the bike path or on the road, that is something that we would consider doing as well. Questions?
Fee-based service with the same rate that we have now? Or?
It's a flat fee per month, depending on how often you wanted us to come over and check it. Usually runs about $1,000 a month for once a day. Twice a day would be about $2,000. And we could prorate that based on whatever other fees we got, so that it could come down a little bit. But it's a flat fee because there's no 70-30 split on all of that capability.
So otherwise, then it would be our police department that, for all of the off-season, is responsible for tickets and
For any parking
for
violations.
parking violations.
That is correct. Other questions?
Just one quick comment about Alyssa. I just want to thank you for being available, being helpful, and being a problem solver throughout the year to especially me. So thank you so very much for being available.
So, sort of the action list. We need to look at our rates by December, before December. Any other things that changed that,
Length
Primarily
of,
look at your rates. If you want to change any dates,
length of season too.
yeah.
and then the off-season parking violation coverage that we can provide.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you all
Thank you
very
very
much.
much.
Jim. Appreciate
Thanks,
it,
Jim.
Jim.
I apologize to y'all for getting choked up while ago. I hope none of y'all's dentists because I don't like dentists. Moving on now to the fire fee, fire tax presentation. Ms. Nichols and Mr. Childers, you have the floor.
Hello, Mr. Mayor, Council. Thank you for having me tonight. So we've got a short presentation for you. And what tonight's presentation is, it's just a brief snapshot of what's currently happening with fire service funding in Brunswick County. We're going to really touch base on what could happen, but it's not so much of what has happened, it's just what could happen potentially. So we're going to start tonight with how we're funded currently. Currently, we're funded by the fire fee mechanism. And what the fire fee mechanism is the annual cost is calculated based on physical factors. Heated square footage, acreage for unimproved land, and it's entirely independent of the property's assessed value. And to our knowledge, the only other county in North Carolina utilizing this system is Gates County. Gates is a much smaller county.
Richard, this is what the citizens see on their taxes every year.
Correct.
The fire fee.
This is
what
what's
you're
on their
talking
tax bill.
Okay.
Totally independent of property value. So we're going to go through a little bit. I see now that it's kind of difficult to see, but we're going to start with unimproved land. So unimproved land, unless it's the 5 acres accompanying a single family dwelling, this is vacant property. This is the rates that you're tasked with. Currently, if it's less than an acre, which is the majority of our property here in Sunset Beach, it's $20 annually. Going over to commercial structures, that is retail establishment, offices, industrial complex, which we have none, but so the bulk of ours are under 5,000 square feet, so they're paying $400 annually. The multi-family dwellings, so this is tasked just like it's a standalone single family. And I'm going to backtrack because I missed the most important one. Residential, maybe I skipped over that. I apologize. Residential, the bulk of that, $100, $200 annually. And it goes up depending on the square footage of your home. So we asked, why are we here? And do fire fees work? And so in Brunswick County, the rapid growth that some departments are seeing, they're insufficient. The funds are insufficient to cover the essential operational cost and the capital purchases. So when I say that, I mean every fire department within Brunswick County. I want to talk a little bit about Sunset Beach. Similar to that, in this fiscal year, Sunset Beach will allocate $642,000 from tax revenue into the fire department budget. So gives you a little bit of a sense of fire fees don't fully support the fire department. So town uses tax revenue to cover that remainder. So what are some challenges with this system? Currently, fire fees do not fully fund any municipal department in Brunswick County, with the exception of Oak Island. In July of this year, Oak Island eliminated fire fees, and they're totally funded through town tax. So that occurred July 1 of this year. But every other department chips in somewhat to the fire department budget. when we talk municipal departments.
Does Oak Island cover any areas outside their geographic boundary?
They do not. That's the main difference between us and Oak Island. We have a substantial district that's considered county area beyond the municipal boundaries, and Oak Island only protects the municipal district. So in most departments in Brunswick County, not all, but most, the fire fee is what we call maxed out. It cannot be increased without legislation actions. So how this conversation started was in October of 24 when Brunswick County Manager Steve Stone made a statement during that meeting, and he recommended to the Board of Commissioners that they develop a fire tax plan for the unincorporated areas and engage with municipal fire partners to create a sustainable funding model that addresses their needs. Okay, and this comment is what sparked the attention of the fire chiefs, the mayor's groups, municipal administration, and that's where it began. So I'm going to give you a little bit of timeline of what has occurred so far. On June 30th of 25, Ms. Anglin called a meeting, reached out to some of our local partners, municipal partners, fire chiefs, and town managers, and we held a meeting over at the community building just to talk about what could happen and some possibilities coming there. In attendance were fire chiefs from Shallotte, Ocean Isle Beach, and Calabash, as well as their town managers and administrators. Okay, this is difficult to read, but I'm going to read this out loud. During the July 21st, 2025 Board of Commissioners meeting, County Manager Steve Stone initiated a action to the board, and they requested that we provide a schedule for the planning phase of the potential transition of funding the fire service from current fire fee system to a tax system. And what he did, he created a timeline of their goals to put something together to present to the Board of Commissioners. Okay, and that's what they've been doing so far. They had a target completion date of August 29th of 25. They put on their agenda to meet with the Fire Chiefs Association and the mayors by October 17th. And create a draft alignment by November 17th, which you'll see in an upcoming slide here. So July 30th, the Fire Chiefs Association met. We called a special meeting and met to talk about some of the possibilities that may or may not be coming with this system. And some of the things we discussed at that meeting was the shortcomings in our current system. We established that several departments are underfunded throughout Brunswick County. We talked about the municipal departments that requires additional funds from the tax base. We talked a little bit about the county manager. They desire to have a fire tax system in lieu of the fire fee system. And we discussed all the different various options that we may be faced with. August 15th, the Chiefs boards met with the mayors to kind of talk about that possibilities as well. August 18th, the Chiefs Association met with a group of Brunswick County representatives, including the county manager, Steve Stone. And what that is, this is all just what I like to say, we're asking for a seat at the table to start discussions so we know our needs are carried over in this discussion. And that's the purpose of the fire chiefs, the mayors, the town managers, and that. We want to be a part of these upcoming discussions. I left out on August 6th, Town Administrator Anglin and Finance Director Nichols met with the New Brunswick County Tax Administrator, Melissa Radke. On August 27th, they met again. We talked about some of the properties within Sunset Beach, the municipal limits, and without outside the municipal limits. So what's next, what's coming, and what recently happened on the 1st, Town Administrator Anglin and Finance Director Nichols attended a meeting convened by Brunswick County Manager Steve Stone, where he presented a county-wide fire tax plan. The funding models weren't too specific during that meeting, but their plan is to give us specific funding and dollar amounts on 30 to 45 days from now. So we're kind of in a holding game to see what they come back with us. So still the original time frame that the commissioners talked about were the 17th of November. They want to present a draft district alignment with the tax rate alternatives to the Board of Commissioners by that date. They want to do the final recommendations to the Board of Commissioners on January 20th. And as you know, that's going to be a prime budget time for us. So the funding options that really we may be faced with. Currently, we're at fire fees. At the end of the day, the commissioners could choose to keep it how it is. That's always on the table. They can choose to go to a fire tax. There's a couple of different options they have with the fire tax. They could do a rural protection district, which requires a vote from the at-large citizens. They can do a service protection district countywide. They could do a regional where they combine Southern Brunswick County or a couple of departments together. There's multiple ways they can do that. And then there's individual districts where each fire department would have its own individual district. We don't really know how that's going to go yet. This is just conversation. Ad valorem, Sunset Beach could always opt out with whatever that plan is. You'll be able to make that decision when it comes time, if that's the best option for our citizen.
Excuse me. Are we on a precipice of going to every individual home having a different fire tax charge? Are we getting close to that where
Possibly. We don't know yet. We don't know what's going to happen at this until this gets in front of the commissioners and they so choose. We don't know. It's not there yet. We're hoping we'll have a lot more information within 30 to 45 days, so we can bring that back to you.
Some expectation how long it will take once they make a decision to where we can transition into whatever they decide?
With the timeline, if they stick to that timeline, they will tell us January. So we'll have from January to July 1 to put that in play.
Okay.
Richard, when you're talking about tax system, one of those tax systems could be assessed valuation of a home, correct?
A tax is that, yes. All about property value, land value, vehicle value, boat value, things like that.
Okay.
So what do they think about in terms of, we on the coastal area have pretty much higher property values than in the interior part of the county.
That's right.
And the interior part of the county is, my understanding, where most of the financial problems are in terms of keeping a qualified, fully manned, fully equipped fire department, fire service, and that.
Correct. It's Brunswick County is so diverse. We have departments such as us, paid staff. We've got 7 on-duty crew right now. We've got departments that are struggling to meet 2. So it's very diverse in that, and I think that's the hardship of what they're going through because they've got to make a good decision for the entire county. So we'll see what comes of that.
Okay.
Okay, and lastly, a little bit of what I just talked about. If the county commissioners approve a fire tax, the fire department will no longer be funded. So I do want to take a second and talk about that. So if the county chooses to do that, fire fees will be no longer. So they will go away, and then we will have to decide the direction of Sunset Beach. So if the county commissioners are authorized to enact a countywide fire tax, if it's established, Sunset Beach does retain the option to opt out. I want you to keep in mind, though, we may not have that control over the county jurisdiction. So 1/3 of our district is county, not within the town. So depending on what happens, we may opt out of Sunset Beach, but that we don't have the control over the county side of things. May not.
So we would have to continue covering that area.
Yes, but we won't have the discretionary actions to opt out or of that portion, depending on how everything falls. All of that's all up in there at this moment.
Richard, what was the Oak Island residents? How do they feel about going to a fire tax?
I spoke to the chief a couple of weeks ago, and he got a lot of calls this year as expected. He said most of the calls, so the average homeowner in Oak Island may have seen a $40 increase, may have seen a $40 decrease. But the average citizen was so accustomed to paying the fire fees, they had an extra tax on their bill this year. So once he took the call and explained to them that fire fees are no longer, so take what you paid last year in fire fees, add that, it pretty much averaged out. Now that's not all the homes are like that. Some of them are, obviously going to pay substantially more, but for the average homeowner, it's $40, $60 increase, decrease.
And they're retaining 100% of the revenue, Oak Island, or is it shared at all? No,
Not shared at all.
not shared at all.
So that's all I've got. Unless you'd like to speak to Miss Nichols about that, that's all for me.
Thank you, Richard.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
We'll be moving on to the consent agenda, the 2025 September 8th draft meeting minutes, 2025 9/8 draft meetings, the monthly reports, building inspection, finance, fire, police, public works. Does any member of council that's here right at the moment have any questions for any of these departments or any of these meetings?
I do not.
We'll give John just a second in case he has a question. As soon as we get this taken care of, any member of staff that doesn't have anything else is welcome to go home. Do you have any questions for any of the meeting minutes or the staff reports? All right, we'll move on. Anybody that doesn't have anything else is welcome to go home. Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
You have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Town Administrator report, Ms. Lang.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to echo what you already heard about the Sunset at Sunset Festival. It was another successful Sunset at Sunset event that we had this past weekend. I think it was the largest attended. We're going to somehow figure out how to count actual people that come through that event, but we estimate that it was thousands that came through. As with Charlie and everybody else's comments, thank you so much to Amy for all she did throughout the year to get it put together. Thank all the town employees that actually worked the event and the many, many, many volunteers that helped to make the event the success that it was. Steve Hines, the ERC chairman, really knocked it out of the park this year with the idea of the fishing tank, along with Fletcher and John, Fletcher Freak, and I'm not sure what John's last name is, but they worked tirelessly for a long time getting all that together, and then they actually went out and caught everything that was in the tank. So that was pretty awesome. It was a real showstopper for the event. And thank you so much, Steve. Tell you about a couple of events that are coming up next week. The 904 corridor study that some of you may or may not have heard about, that we are partnering with the GSTATS, which is the Grand Strand Area Transportation Study Group, that we are within that MPO. That corridor study is going on. We will be having a public input meeting on October the 14th from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Sunset Beach Community Center. And that's exactly what it is, a public input meeting. There won't be any presentations or anything of that nature, nothing formal, but there'll be a lot of boards up that will show you everything of the 904 corridor coming from 17 all the way to Seaside intersection with Sunset Boulevard North. We need everybody to come and let us hear your concerns with the 904 corridor study. This is a plan that the planning board and the town council will adopt and will drive a lot of DOT's projects as we move forward with that corridor study. Another event that is going on next week in honor of Fire Prevention Month, the fire department is hosting a community safety night at the community building. That date is Wednesday, October the 15th from 5 to 7. It is also located in the Sunset Beach Community Center. And they say, join us for an evening of life-saving knowledge and community connections. We're diving into fire preventions and slips and trips and falls, safety, 2 topics that can make a big difference in keeping you and your loved ones safe. Meet your local firefighters, learn practical safety tips, enjoy light refreshments. This is your chance to ask questions, get informed, and take steps towards a safer home and a community. Just a couple other things for you. The recycling applications, we are still accepting applications. The applications can be completed and submitted on the website, and then you can also pay on the website as well. Just the list of the current projects that we have going on that you all are already aware of. We had the kickoff meeting for the Jinks Creek realignment project with the consultant, Coastal Protection Engineers, a few weeks ago. Surveying work is being completed now as they are preparing the modeling and the data gathering that we need to go to the scoping agencies to make sure that we will be able to complete this project. The Main Street parking project, which you are all very aware about, is we've completed the west end now with the vehicle parking spaces on what I call the second row, not oceanfront. Contractors now beginning on the east side. They started the east side today. You can expect lane closures periodically, just like we saw on the west side, and if you can, avoid traveling Main Street if at all possible. Catchment 7 Stormwater Project. This is the project for 4th, 5th, 6th Street that'll go down to Canal Drive into Canal A. That contractor will be mobilizing next week, so you will see that work beginning soon. And then the last one is the Majestic Oak Park. The engineers continue to meet with the agencies to ensure that our plan is in compliance with agency regulations before we go out for bids. We're hoping to go out for bids in December or the 1st of January. The tree board is working on the landscaping plan and will be preparing a list of the types of trees, shrubs, and flowers, etc., that will be planted in the park. And then just a couple other things. As always, I continue to block off every Thursday between 1 and 3 to meet with the public. I encourage anyone with questions or concerns to come meet with me. And then I'd like to ask Amy to come up. Does she come into the room? Thanks. Yeah, Amy's going to come up and give us, tell us about the upcoming events that are in the park.
Hello, everyone. Thursday is going to be our last market in the park for the season. That'll be from 9 to 1. After that, we will have a holiday market, but that will be the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So more to come there. Friday, we are having our first Push-Ups for Parkinson's event. That is sponsored by the My 1010 organization. So we're looking forward to having different groups come and do some push-up challenges. There'll be different contests that'll be happening. We'll have food trucks, a DJ, beer and wine vendors as well. And that's from 4 to 7. 7. And then on Sunday is Jazz in the Park, and that will be from 1 to 4. We will also have food trucks at that event, as well as beer and wine vendors. Lobster Jogs will be coming for that one, and a couple of different food trucks that we didn't have at Sunset. And then on Wednesday, October 29th, we will be having the Chief Claymore and the Sunset Beach Fire Department will be hosting Trunk or Treat again, and that's from 5 to 6:30 in the park. That will be preceded in the park at 3:30 p.m. One Love Market is working with Possibility to do a Halloween puppy parade costume contest. And we will also at 2:45 p.m. kick off the Witches Parade through Sea Trail from the Jonesburg Clubhouse. And the fire department will be assisting with that, since the police department will be at the park getting ready for Trunk or Treat. And that's the rest of October. And we'll come back with some more information for the November events.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. So as you can see, even though the tourists have gone home, we are still all here and we want to do things. So please come out and support the events. And that's all I have. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to ask.
Any questions for Ms. Anglin? Nope.
No, thank you.
All right, moving on to old business, salary and pay plan policy adoption. Ms. Sweeney, Ms. Nichols, y'all both are tied into this. Go ahead, Ms. Sweeney.
Good evening, Mayor Phillips and council members. My name is Suzanne Swinney from the HR department, and I wanted to speak with you tonight, asking for your approval for the policy that was written as an overview for the salary pay plan that was covered back in April. And we met with different people, the department managers and myself. And this is to incorporate from the April 25 budget, or the 25 public meeting that we had about on April the 25th. So the background for this policy was when we first started talking with the department heads, when I first came on board, there were concerns about being able to retain and recruit qualified individuals. So this plan was a group effort. We met for several months trying to come up with a plan that was going to work across all departments across the town. So we came up with something that had 3 key elements. The first element would be the salary pay plan, which was already the salary grade plan, which was already in place. That's been used by the town since 2011, 10 or 11. So that's already there. That's where jobs are graded. Every job description or job title has a job grade attached to it. So those have been in place for a long time. That's the first part of the plan. The second part of the plan was a salary step plan by which each department outlines how an individual could progress through that department. It's basically a career path. It is a promotional opportunity. It gives them a very clear idea of what the training plan is from year to year. And then the third part of that is a longevity pay prong of that, and that is to reward the people who have been here, who have stayed with the town for it's a lump sum bonus type plan or program, which is part of the retention. So it was both recruitment and retention was the main reasons for this plan. So I'm here tonight just to ask you for approval of that plan. What the policy is just a written document that outlines how the plan would be administered already. So the plan was already incorporated into the budget for this year. So just looking for approval for that written policy or written portion of it.
This is just housekeeping, really. This is already approved and in the budget.
That's correct.
Mr. Mayor, I have a motion.
One
Okay,
more question, sir. Go ahead, Mike.
Just so I know what the plan is. You've explained it to me, but the populace needs to know a little bit more, I think, to understand what's happening. And it's only fair for them to know. Let's say somebody who just comes into the thing, into the town, starting off as a person in public works.
Yes.
And that's all, they come in and they're down at the bottom of the salary range. And that's all they want to do is do what they do every day. Okay, whatever that may be. They basically stay at that range for a long, unless they want to learn additional skills to move up through, correct?
That's correct. The step plan is all about the pay for skills, and it's all about the knowledge base. So you do have people that come into whatever department it may be that really don't want to move up. They don't have any desire to move from, say, police officer 1 to police officer 2, or firefighter 1 to firefighter 2. So that is definitely part of this plan as well, and that's where that comes in with the longevity. So they're rewarded for being long-term town employees, which is what we need.
So if they basically stay in that same job at that same level for 5 years, they can get a longevity which is not attached to their salary, but is like a bonus type
That's
thing.
correct.
For a payment that year.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And that longevity bonus, we consider, will replace the sort of annual holiday bonus, Christmas bonus that
That's correct. It does
we've been
replace
given
that.
out. And it's issued at about the same time before Thanksgiving.
The plan is to have that out in November. Yes.
Yeah.
Now the holiday is paid out, I think, the week before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So we plan to do the same with the longevity.
And all of this plan with the steps and the programs, is that codified someplace where all the employees can see it, where the people can see it?
Yes, absolutely. And it's all being covered by the department managers with employee meetings. It's been covered.
I just want to say one thing, and it's you wrote in your positions here, the key part of this whole thing in my mind, it's a system designed to attract, develop, and retain top talent across all positions within the town of Sunset Beach. So I think those three things are so important to keeping people here, working here, and not running elsewhere to get a few more bucks and things like that. So thank you for that. I think that's a good idea.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Since I wasn't on the board on April, but it sounds like a good plan.
Thank you.
All right, what's the pleasure of council in regards to passing this?
I motion that we accept the plan as presented.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Swain.
Thank you.
Moving on next. A new business resolution, support of Carolina Bays Parkway project. What's the pleasure of council in regards to this? You heard a speech tonight about something. Do y'all want to change something in this, or y'all like what you got going on?
Well, if I may.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, this is as the gentleman who spoke used half my presentation, so I appreciate that. We've been looking at this for a long time. They finally got the a draft environmental impact study. They got released a study this summer, and NCDOT is starting to move through a series of public hearings before they go into doing the final draft. They are still not resolved as to what routes would be taken, and the routes that are being identified are still very much conceptual, broad routes that would be adjusted per the developments. The point that the gentleman made, that this was 5-year-old maps, has been pointed out repeatedly to NCDOT, that the areas impacted, as discussed 5 years ago now, have changed excessively, perhaps, if you consider the amount of development we have going on. So that's a concern. Our main goal here is just to be pointing out that we do not want a route that brings all of the traffic through this corridor into the intersection at 904 and 17 at the McDonald's. And the first iterations of these programs had 8 or 9 alternative routes, and they all came to this location, which would then mean that from McDonald's to Shallotte, would have a superhighway being put in there where we have residences, businesses, churches, cemeteries, senior living homes, etc. And we just want to make sure that we stay out front in opposing that. I'm not sure if I understood exactly the wording that you're looking for, but we're not, okay, we can talk after this, but we're not looking for precise wording. It's just the general area that goes through P Landing towards NC 130 is what we're looking for, without any more precision than that. And we don't want it to come down from Longwood down to 17. And the resolution that we have is to put us back on the record again, continuing to say that we do not want the alternative 4 route that comes down to 17 and 904, and we want a route that's closer to alternative 4A that continues inland and parallel to 17. And then part of the argument is we still need evacuation routes, and ultimately looking to the future, we need a parallel route to US 17 that takes us up to I-140 up south of Leland. So that's it.
It's a pleasure, council, in regards to this resolution.
I'll make a motion.
All right.
I move to adopt the accompanying resolution calling for the route inland of US 17, alternative 4A, and submit the resolution to the North Carolina Department of Transportation and agencies associated with the Carolina Bay Parkway Extension Project for consideration in conjunction with review of the July 2025 draft environmental impact statement.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on next. The tree board appointment. What is the pleasure in council, according to council, on this?
Mr. Mayor,
Do you want me to
I-
give you a little bit of background on this?
Please.
Yes, please. Yeah, be good. Thank you.
In the beginning, when you all were forming the tree board, we had issues getting members. So several of the ERC members stepped up to serve on both the tree and the ERC. Since that point, we've had new members appointed to ERC, and through meetings and discussions, we found out that John Rothermel actually has experience with trees and would like to serve on the tree board in conjunction with his membership to the ERC as well. And Steve Hines, who's the ERC chairman, has agreed, or without us having to bend his arm, to come off of the tree board. So all we're asking for you to do tonight is to appoint John to the tree board, and he will remain on the ERC as well, and to remove Steve Hines from the tree board.
Pleasure, council.
Yeah, make a motion.
I move that
Never
we
mind.
appoint ERC member John Rothermel to the tree board to replace Steve Hines.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Next up is our ERC appointment. What's the pleasure of council in regards to this?
And the background on this one is you appointed, you added another ERC position to that board from 8 to 9. And then you all have done interviews in the last couple of weeks or last week for the people who had signed up at that point. And then you just need to make an appointment if you so choose, or we will re-advertise and do it again.
I'd like to make I make a motion that the council appoint Diane Watson to the Environmental Resource Committee.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any more discussion?
None.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next up is our disposition of directives. Does any member of council have anything that needs to be added here at this moment?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
since the parking sign-up is going to start in December, I think in the November meeting, we should talk about the lowering the fire fee, lowering the parking fee for residents from $25 to $10.
Anything else? Any other member of council have anything?
So generally, we'll put parking fees and dates and all that. We'll
Just we can talk about that then. Yeah.
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 Good.
Anything else? If not, we'll be moving on to public comments. If anybody would like to make a public comment, please state your name, address, and we'll go from there. Anybody have any public comments? Yes, sir.
Roy Cundiff, 598 Kings Trail, Sunset Beach. I won't go and congratulate the Amy staff, the employees, first defenders, and all of those things because they deserve it a bit. I want to talk about another issue, a very small issue. As I'm waddling around the park about every morning, I go by Memorial, and anytime there's an event scheduled, or the leaves are heavy, or the acorns are scattered, there's one gentleman there that's blowing leaves, sweeping, rubbing, washing, and taking care of things. He's there constantly. I don't want to take anything away from the committee, but I want to bring Lou DeVita's name out as a guy who's up front, and as far as I'm concerned, he's far ahead of anyone on the, if you will, or the committee itself, not anyone, the committee itself, in keeping that memorial the way we would like to have it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Roy.
Yep.
Very nice.
Anyone else? All right, if not, nothing else.
Whoa,
I didn't
wait
see,
for.
I didn't see you
gotta
jump
get
up and get
fast,
started.
Too late, John.
He was. He wanted to be last.
You didn't. You weren't fast enough, Mayor.
John Hobgood, Sunset Beach Trading Company.
Pull the mic up, John, please.
Sorry. I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm here to address a matter that concerns me a little bit about the Sunset Beach's official Facebook page. As of this point in 2025, the town has made approximately 173 Facebook posts. Of those 173 posts, not one single post has highlighted or promoted a local brick and mortar business located here in Sunset Beach. Asterisk, there were 9 sponsors for Sunset at Sunset that were mentioned in the month of September. A quick breakdown of the most popular categories of Facebook posts from the town of Sunset Beach. 21 were about hurricane preparedness. Very good use of Facebook. 22 were weather-related closures. You had the occasional road closures or maintenance issues or vacancies on various boards and positions in the city. 10 posts shared our town's history, which is an awesome use of Facebook. That's what Facebook originally was for. Positivity stuff. 12 were about the concert series. 4 were for the spring jazz in the park, which is great. 2 were regarding Run at Sunset. And for me, the 14 posts that spotlighted vendors at the Thursday Sunset Market. None of those 14 vendors have a physical location in Sunset Beach. Meanwhile, the local storefronts, the businesses on and off the island who contribute to the fabric and tax base of this town have received zero exposure through this very public and very visible platform. Transparency, well, fairness matters, and so does supporting the businesses that have made this long-term investment for the community. I just respectfully urge the town to, if they want, start including local brick and mortar businesses, not just those who contribute to fundraisers or sponsorships in their local social media coverage. We deserve a town government that supports the permanent physical businesses in the community, not one that just overlooks it. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
sir.
John.
Thank you, John.
Anyone else? All right, if not, no further from the council. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.